Hi everybody, Keith Tanner here from Flyin Miata, and today I'm going to take you on a little behind the scenes look at what it takes for us to attend a big Miata show. We just got back from Miatas at the Gap. It was a fantastic event, well over 1,000 cars there, probably 2,000 people. It's one of those events that they don't really know exactly how many, but it was a lot of cars. It was at least 1,300. Fantastic show. We met a lot of people, had a really good time, but what I'm going to show you here is what goes on in the background to actually make that show happen, or at least our participation in that show. There's a lot of work involved in trying to show up and just be able to talk Miatas with people. So if you have any questions as we're shooting this, if you have any questions about how we do things, why we do things, what the heck is that in the corner, definitely throw them in the comments. We will try to answer them live if you ask them live. If you ask them in the future on YouTube, we will try to answer them in the comments on YouTube, because yes, we do read all the comments. And also, if you do like this sort of content, naturally, please make sure to subscribe to our channel, subscribe for updates, like our channel. You'll make sure you get lots of good YouTube content or Flyin Miata content on YouTube. And we're always looking for ideas, so if there's something you want to see cover, throw it in the comments as well. Comments good, like good, subscribe good. All right, good. So, Miatas at the Gap. I'm going to go through a timeline of what it takes to attend an event like Miatas at the Gap or Miata Reunion or Miata World or one of those big events that we tend to go to, because it starts months ahead of the actual event. The first thing we do is we talk to the event organizers. You know, what can we do to sort of participate and not just show up and be a vendor in Vendor Alley? How can we actually improve the event? How can we actually be involved in it to try to make it as good as possible? Some events, there's not much we need to do. For the Miata Reunion, for example, we have sponsored the autocross last year. A few years ago at the Miata Reunion, we realized that in order for everyone to get full track time, to get, I think it was 5 sessions, they had to pay some extra money to keep the track open a little bit longer when it was based at Laguna Seca. So we pitched in for that, and we actually paid for the extra session of lap time for everyone so that everyone got more time on track. We're always, last year at the reunion, we how do we say this? Enabled the Founding Fathers discussion that went on, which is a great video if you check it out on our channel. It's a discussion of 4 or 5 of, I think it's 5 of the actual fellows who were involved in making the Miata a reality back in the 80s and also the second generation in the 90s as well. We got in behind the scenes on that because that was something that the event organizers wanted to do. We had the chops to be able to record it, to cut it, to share it. So we like to get involved in the events if we can. So we always start off with a discussion of the event organizer saying, how can we make things a little bit better? And with that done, we start planning. The first thing we have to do is figure out who's going and what cars are going. This is not always an easy decision because everybody here loves going to the shows. And not everyone here can go to the shows all the time because someone's got to stay here and keep shipping product and keep answering the phone. So we have a spreadsheet to plan this as to who's going to what show, how are they getting there, what cars are going to what show, how are they getting there, has the lodging been booked, all of the actual planning on what's going on. For example, we have some people that show up to almost every show. I'm one of them. Travis is at almost every show, so he can keep bringing you updates, take care of our social media aspect of things. We've got a couple of other sort of long-term employees who tend to be at every show, but we also try to bring out a number of our customer service folks as much as possible so they can get out there, they can experience the culture, the Miata enthusiasm that's out there. They can talk to people face-to-face because you get a different feel for the Miata community when you're actually talking face-to-face and if you're just reading Facebook posts or being involved in forums or answering phones or emails, that sort of thing. So it's really valuable. So there's always at least one rotating position in terms of who's going to be where. I think Ethan is going to Miata Reunion. Kean just came back from Miatas at the Gap. Nick was out at Miatas at the Gap last year, I think, or a couple of years ago. We try to move things around so that everyone can show up. The cars themselves, that varies. We try to bring, general rule of thumb, try to bring one of each generation because everyone likes to see the parts for their car. Totally get that. Which car it is that shows up depends on what products it is that we are particularly proud of, that we want to show off, that people most want to see. So it's usually a fairly easy decision. We've only got a few, show level cars for some of the platforms. Andy here is almost always there because Andy's sort of our poster child for the ND platform. Not the only development platform we have for that, but Andy gets used for a lot of it. We brought a new car out to Miatas at the Gap. Roller Girl over here made her public debut. We've done a tour of this car in the past. Roller Girl is one of our R&D cars that normally is just in the background torture testing parts. But she came out to the show. Nancy, of course, was at the show this time. You can see currently being used as a table because we're still unpacking to show off the new NC Turbo Kit. And we decided to bring the Targa Miata, which is hiding in the corner that you can't see right now, just because people haven't seen it out on the eastern half of the country for some time, since it used to go out to Road Atlanta. So there's always some decisions as to what's going to go where in terms of what we're going to show off. And then we have to get the cars ready because these are development cars. They are always being taken apart. They always have inappropriate things attached to them. They might be full of sensors, full of data logging equipment. They might have their entire transmission ripped out, so we can be taking a close look at some clutch stuff, for example. So we have to make sure that the cars are reassembled in time for them to get ready to go to the show. And that takes a lot longer than you might think, given that R&D is always wanting to just test one more thing. So it's a little bit of a challenge sometimes, a little bit of internal communication, making sure that the cars can be ready in time. Then we have to do a list of all the stuff we want to bring with us, all of the parts, all of the products. This sounds easy, just grab one of everything, but we're standing in a 25,000 square foot warehouse that has one of everything. There's not enough room in all of our trailers to do that. So we have to pick out all the various bits and pieces that we want to bring with us to show off, that will give people a good idea of what our product line looks like, the sort of things that we offer. Sometimes we'll build special stands for them. This is an NB turbo kit right here. This is one of our static displays from our actual office here. But we put this together so people can look at it at the show and see how all the parts go together, show off our new turbo manifold, which we have talked about in the past, the intercooler routing, and see just how clean this whole thing is. And of course, we did one for the NC turbo as well. The intercooler is still in a box, but we did the same thing with this, so we can show off, what they look like. So there's some big stuff like this. We have displays for the brakes over behind me over here. The butterfly brace has a whole mechanism to sort of stand it up and show it. So first we have to start with a big list of here's all the products that are going. And then we have to figure out how we're going to show off the products and get that all together. I mean, just for example, this wheel sitting here. We needed a way to show off wheels other than just playing them flat on a table. So we designed a little wheel holder. Even says Flyin Miata on it, just so you're not sure where it came from. And that keeps the wheels from rolling away, so we can easily have a wheel sitting on a table being shown off, and it just stays in place. So you can imagine this is not the sort of thing you do the night before a show. All of this is taking place months before the show. And along with that, we're also designing any swag that might go along with the show, such as this Miatas at the Gap t-shirt that we gave away at the last event. We usually have a giveaway shirt at every event. This is the Miatas at the Gap one. We gave away 500 of these. 250 on the first day, they went in half an hour. 250 in the second day, they went in 15 minutes. So, Travis has to come up with the design for that. And obviously this is not clip art stuff. This was hand drawn. So that takes a little while. Then we have to get them all printed, get them here on time, get them all ready to go. Same with special event stickers, hats, whatever it is that we're doing for the event. Okay. So, we've done all our prep work. We've decided on our cars. We figured out who's going to be there. We figured out what product we're going to bring. Now we have to get it there. One of the things we find out from the organizers is when can we get into the event, because it takes us a while to set all this up when we get there. But the actual vehicles get to the event either in trailers. We have enough trailer capacity for 3 cars, and usually we drive one. Sometimes we'll drive more than one. Usually, though, these days, we drive one car. This year it was Nancy drove out there because we're still, the more miles we can get on that NC Turbo, the better. It's the second year in a row she's made the trip with that turbo. And the other 3 cars go into trailers. I have one trailer that takes 2 cars, and then we have a pickup bed full of all sorts of other stuff. We have another trailer that has an extra 7 feet in front of the car that we can load all this stuff in. It's got a little bit of cargo capacity as well. And they have to leave several days before the actual event. For us to get to Miatas at the Gap, it's just over 2 days of driving. 2.5 days. We have to operate under DOT hour of service regulations because we do have a DOT compliance number. We're participating in interstate commerce. All sorts of good reasons for that, but it means that we can't just go out there and do an 18-hour tow, which is honestly, it's a good thing. So, 2 or 3 days before the event, all the stuff has to be packed up, has to be in a truck, and the truck has to be pulling out of the Flyin Miata driveway so it can get there on, I think it's Thursday evening for the gap. Now, another thing that I didn't mention as part of this whole show thing is we also find out what the dimensions of our area is going to be at the show. We know that at Miata Reunion, at Sonoma, we have a nice big garage. We know that Miata's at the Gap, we have a section of basically curb front on a road. So we learn how big our area is going to be for that. Miata's at the Gap, we have our big white trailer parked behind us. We have 3 easy ups, so that's basically a 30 by 10 area. And we stage everything on the tables and figure out what the layout's going to be, because nothing's worse than showing up and having 5 alpha dogs trying to figure out where everything should go, and everyone's got a different idea of where everything should go, and we have all leaders, no followers, and it's chaos. So if we want it to work, we try to set everything up in the shop first. We'll actually tape out the area so we know how big it's going to be. We'll set up all our displays and then basically make notes about where everything goes, how it all goes, because even with that knowledge, it still takes a half day to set up a show. And then when it's all done, you got to tear it down, bring it all back again, and also without damaging any stuff. That's a lot of work on its own. So we have sent our trucks off. They're pounding across the country. For the Miatas at the Gap, we burned about 600 gallons of diesel fuel getting our stuff to and from the Gap. We also burned about 120 gallons of high test driving the Miata out there and back. And of course, we've got at that point 3 drivers out of the office for basically a week as they go out there and back again. So that's something we have to plan around as well. Got to make sure that those people, the stuff they have to do normally day to day is also being covered. And also as part of the planning, we come up with a water and food plan, because at these events, it's always hot. You're talking nonstop. There's no way to sort of sneak off and disappear and grab something to eat. So we have to make sure that we have food in the trucks, coolers full of water, also for our guests sometimes as well, depending on the event. All sorts of planning involved there. Do we have any questions going on there, Kian? Ethan wants to know if anything's ever been stolen. And the answer is no, actually. Miata people are good people, generally speaking. What's his? Any ideas? I'm sorry, I can't hear.
They steal our ideas.
They steal our ideas. Yes, they steal our ideas, but we put those out on the internet already anyway. We don't bring anything to the show usually that you haven't already, that you're not willing to have seen in public. So yes, the ideas. I mean, flattery is the sincerest form of imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, right? So when OBX goes and completely and utterly knocks off our previous generation butterfly brace, we have to be flattered, but we're also not sad when they go out of business. And we're not going to miss you, OBX. So yeah, that's pretty much what's involved. And when we're at the event, we are standing on our feet talking to Miata enthusiasts for hours on end. Miatas at the Gap in particular starts off at something like 7 o'clock in the morning. They show up crazy early, very enthusiastic crowd out there, and it goes until almost dark. So we're standing on our feet talking to people, and it is a lot of fun, but it is a long, long day. We also have to take into account that sometimes we lose some of our people during the course of the day, such as at Reunion last year. I was up chairing that Founding Fathers discussion. I was giving a seminar up there as well on the Miata aftermarket. I'll be doing one this year as well, so you want to check that one out. It'll be on developing forced induction. Anyway, little pitch there for the reunion. We will be there at the end of October this year. So we have to take that into account when we're doing our staffing as well. Some of our people have to disappear. Sometimes we have to grab someone and go do a social media thing, grab Brandon, put him in front of a car, tell him to talk for 15 minutes, and come back and continue to talk about Miatas. But yeah, in terms of the things getting stolen, Miata people generally are good people. We have not had any problems with shoplifting, about people lifting stuff. Usually at night, the displays are closed up. There's usually some security around, so we don't really have to worry about that. But generally speaking, it's been a good experience. And Flyin Miata has been going to major Miata events since the Miata Club of America started putting on nationals back in the very early 90s. Bill Cardell used to go out to those events and he would actually do installs. So Bill spent the entire event lying on his back installing headers and shock tower braces and stuff like this. I think one of the first times I met Bill in person was at Miata 96 in Toronto, and he spent the entire time lying under a car trying to do headers on Canadian cars with rusty bolts. So he had some things to say about that. We actually did a print ad years ago just called "Meet Bill's Feet," because that's all you ever saw of Bill at an event. But Flyin Miata went to Miata 96. We went to Miata World 99. I met up with Flyin Miata there on that one. And of course, Indy, all of the big events that used to happen back in the 90s with the Miata World or the Miata Club of America umbrella. So this is something we've been doing for a long time. We were, I think, the first sponsor of Miata Reunion back when it was called Miatas at Laguna Seca. Miatas at Mazda Raceway, Laguna Seca at the time. And we've been involved in actually getting some of those events off the ground. Northern Exposure 2002, Miata Reunion, we were involved in some of the organization right from the start. Not so much anymore, but we were involved. And we always sponsor the events as well because we want them to happen. We want to give everyone an opportunity to come out and enjoy the Miata community. It's a big part of what we do. Any more questions back there, Kian? Nope. Okay. Well, I've been rattling on for a while about this. Hopefully this gives you an idea of the level of commitment it takes to come to some of these shows. And it shows you why we're so happy when we do see you at a show, because it means that we have done the majority of the work. We have unpacked everything. We have done all the planning. We've done all the logistics. We've managed to get 5 people across the country safe and sound, 4 cars across the country safe and sound. And now all we have to do is stand around and talk about Miatas in a parking lot all day, which honestly, that's kind of what we do as a general rule day to day anyway. So no real harm there. So if you have any questions about what it takes to show up at one of these events, if you have an event you want us to show up to, definitely let us know. Contact us. We're always interested in hearing about, especially one-off events like the Miata World ones that seem to show up every 10 years or so. Definitely let us know if there's a particular event we should know about that we might not know about otherwise. We'd love to make it out to places like Connecticut, I know, out to Lime Rock or something like that. That's a long way. So 3,700 miles to the Gap, I think, and back is probably getting close to our limit. But Texas, whatever, we'll try to make it. So again, if you have any questions, throw them in the comments. I think that's about all I've got today to talk about. But we are very happy that if you do make it out to a show, definitely come in and say hi. Check out our stuff. We are always happy, even if you just want to tell us about your Super Miata, which people do all the time anyway, because all of you love your cars, and we understand because we do the same thing. I'm Keith Tanner from Flyin Miata. Thanks for your attention. All right, second box.